Hey everybody, I am Stacy. I'm the owner and artist of New Creations by Stacy. I'm actually here in Madison, Alabama. I'm a Dixie Belle Elite retailer at the Rustic Willow in Ardmore. And then I do still have my location here as well. I do have minimal stock there right now because there are some changes going on. So if you guys do happen to go into the location here in Madison, you don't see what you're looking for, just to send me a message or let me know, because chances are I really do have it in inventory. I'm just not stocking right now. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. I am also a retailer for Redesign with Prima, as well as a retail content creator for them. So I rarely go live on my page anymore. I usually go live on like the Dixie Belle page or one of the Dixie Belle pages, but I want to start going live on my page, so I'm going to do that every week at 5 on Fridays if you guys can join me. And by the way, hey Heather, just say hey, where you're watching from as you jump on. So on my page, I'm a little bit more free with the products I use too, which is nice. I can kind of do more so what I want. And I was actually, so just to let you guys know, whoops, I just spilled my coffee. So just to let you guys know, I intended to come on tonight, and I don't know if you saw my post, but I intended to come on tonight and do a resin pour with molds and applying them around curves, because there's some long stories behind these start to finish nightstands. But I will probably just go ahead and do a video on the molds and post it within the next week or so. Oh, hey, Mary Jim. Hey, Karen. Hey, Thelma. So by the way, this, just so you know, I put out a little post a couple hours ago. It hasn't been very long because I was kind of in a funk today. I wasn't feeling super creative. And hey, Kaylee. I wasn't feeling super creative, so usually when that happens, I just paint something, and I usually just pick anything random. So MJ is on this. I picked up at a Loose Ends by MJ estate sale. It's just it's a little vanity chair. It was in really nasty shape. The material was actually disintegrating on the top, so I picked this up, and I've had it for a little while. I haven't really done anything with it, but like I said, I just decided to paint it. It's supposed to be super simple. I actually started stamping on the material, which it's the first time I've ever done that today, and I'm so excited. Turns out gorgeous, but I don't even have it by me to show you guys. But I will take a picture and send it. So when I started taking all the padding and the material off here, it was just gross. It was literally disintegrating, rotten. But I found out that this is so cute. It's got little storage in here, and this is the wood that was actually underneath of it. So you can see the back. I'm going to end up doing something on here too, but this was super last minute. And I love how you can see like the old nails. This is really old. The old nails in here and everything. So I finally got inspired. I decided to go ahead. We're going to stain this with some Voodoo Gel Stain tonight. And then, like I said, I was in a funk. So sometimes I just open up my transfers. Oh yeah, you do. MJ said she remembered the stool. So I just opened up some transfers. And I saw this one first, and I fell in love with it. And this butterfly color matches perfect. So I decided to go ahead. I don't really have a plan formulated here, so we're just going to kind of wing it, which I don't normally do live. So to let you guys know what I've done so far, I did clean this with White Lightening. It's a TSP-based solution. And it's specifically for cleaning before you paint. So it's going to do a little deglossing, as well as get any grease, grime, gunk, whatever off. You want to clean it really well, because no matter how great your paint finish looks, if it doesn't stick, it doesn't matter. So definitely clean with White Lightning or TSP. And White Lightning is available through Dixie Belle. So cleaned it with White Lightning. I did use Silk in Serenity. So it's this beautiful kind of like a blue-green color. And this silk paint, also by Dixie Belle, has a built-in stain blocking primer. So this wood was a bleeder. The tannins in the wood can come through your paint. And so like if you see painted furniture and it's like yellow or sometimes like cherry bleeds red. Oh, hey, from Denmark. So anyway, that's a stain, that's a tannin issue with the wood. So this, you do not have to use like a blocker like shellac or Boss. Boss is what I use because it's through Dixie Belle. And I do find it doesn't have as much of an odor as the shellac. So I really do like using it. But it's built in. So one coat of this paint is equivalent to, what's equivalent to one coat of Boss or a blocker. The awesome thing about this is this also has a coat of protectant in it for each coat of paint. So 2 coats of paint, excellent coverage. I did that. I did distress it out a little bit, and I'm going to do some aging too. We may do that live depending on how this top goes. But that's where I'm at right now. So the next step, we're going to do a super easy stain job on this. Of course, I didn't have to strip this or anything. I did clean it, but I didn't have to strip it or anything because it's wood. We're using a stain. So this is a water-based stain, which is why I can put the transfer over it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get to it. But I want to freshen this up, but I kind of want to keep that driftwoody aged look a little bit. So we're going to be doing a little mix of Tobacco Road and Up in Smoke. And like I said, water-based, so it dries super quick. You can see this one, it's relatively new. You can see how it separates out. It's not bad. You just shake them up, and they mix all together really good. And then you just will be ready to start using it. Actually, I have a little left in this bottle, though. So I think it's probably all I'll need. So what I'm going to do first is, let me go ahead. I want you guys really close so you can really see what we're doing. Actually, I'm going to drop you down because I need to take this out. I'm just going to actually do this on my lap down here. So go ahead and drop you down so you have a good view. I think I'm going to do it on my lap. We'll see. So I don't need a whole lot of this stain. This stuff goes forever too. You can add water to it because it's water-based if you want like a more thin wash look. Whoops. Actually, I've got this little one here. But I'm going to use more, or I intend to use more of the Up in Smoke. I want to keep it kind of that gray look for the aging. I kind of need to rinse off my spout here. This is pretty well used. Just pick that off. So one thing when you're using this stain, if you're going to add water, I mean, sometimes I do spray my piece directly, but one thing that does is raise the grain in the wood, the water does, so it can get a little bit rough. Oh, transfer-wise, and I'm going to get to that, but it's the Flower Child transfer, and I'll give you guys a close-up and show you all the sheets, too. I haven't cut anything up or anything like that yet. So, with the stains, like I said, it does raise the grain if you spray it. Also, if you squirt, which you'll see me do sometimes as well, if you squirt it on the top instead of in the paper plate, you want to work really quickly because that stain dries so fast that it can get down in here and you can see those squiggle lines. So that's just another little, another tip there. So I'm going to be using a blue sponge, and I do have these available in the store as well. They're like $3. They're super dense sponges, so it makes it a little bit different from like the ones you get in the crafty sections. So if you're going to use another type of sponge, you'd want to use like a makeup sponge or something like that. Anything that's really dense. This one is well used, but I've been getting organized and I can't find my blue sponges now. That always happens when I get organized. So I am going to go ahead. I'm going to mostly dip this in the gray, I think. And then, actually, let me bring this over here so you can see it. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of brown in there. And let's see how that comes out. I do want this kind of thin. I want you to be able to really see that aging on here. I do also have a brush out. Actually, I think I do want a little bit more brown. And I want to kind of just, I'm going to go over this in brown, that gray section. Let's put a little bit more gray on here. Mix in with that brown. Now you can mix these two stains together, but I kind of want this a little bit streaky. This is one of my favorite combos on the Voodoo Gel Stains. So let's see. And I'm doing the top first because as soon as we finish this, I want to go straight into the transfer. So I do want this to be dry, but, you know, technically I would normally wait about at least an hour or so before I did the transfer over this stain. But for the purposes of a live, we kind of speed things along. And I mean, there's no real harm in it. It's you just want to make sure it's nice and dry because the transfers don't like any moisture. So now that I've got this top part done, I'm going to go ahead and hit the sides, but I do have a brush out to get kind of in that crack and crevice. Oh, and I missed, so this thing had these weird horsehair things in it. And I missed one. It's kind of stuck in there. Actually, I may not even need the brush. So what I'm doing with my sponge is just kind of pinching it together. And then I'm just getting in that little crevice there. So I'm really liking how this is turning out. You can kind of see there. The top's a little bit darker. And that's because the wood was a little bit different on top. So again, very little stain. I'm just mixing that brown and that gray together. And I'm squeezing the sponge to get the excess stain out of it and get into that crack really nice and well. I'm also going over the edges after I do that, because it does create a little, when you squeeze it, some of the stain goes up over the top and you'll have a darker line on that edge if you don't kind of wipe that back a little bit. You want to stain also in the direction of the grain, just like this right here. That's why I wasn't too worried about that overlap on that side though, because of the direction of the grain. So we're just going to come back over to this side. Make sure we get into all those little cracks. And you can do 2 coats of this stain if you want to. You do want to wait about 1 to 2 hours in between each coat. I typically only do 1 coat because if I'm using this water-based stain, I like it to look a little bit thin. I'm going to do something with the bottom of this too, but I like it to look a little bit thin. So you can really see that grain come out in it.
Software doesn't usually get to choose one, but I'll say indigo.
I don't know if you guys can hear, but Siri is talking to me. She thinks that I'm asking her questions right now on my watch, so.
I don't have an answer for that.
Looks great and so easy.
With?
Yeah, Cheryl, it is definitely so easy. And it dries quick, so you don't have to wait that 3 to 5 days to protect it with a water-based protectant like you do with the oil-based stains. I do like the oil-based stains because they always give that nice, rich kind of look. They sink more into your wood than this water-based stain does. But I love this for ease of use. I do always like to mix mine up. I usually don't like one flat color in these Voodoo Gel Stains. My favorite is probably this one. And then Tobacco Road and Black Magic, it gives you a really pretty walnut color, or you can get like an espresso color, depending on how you mix it. But this is it. So you can see how pretty that looks. And I think it's going to go really well on top of here. Let me stop Siri. So I'm going to go ahead and raise you guys back up a little bit because I'm going to go ahead and hit this. Actually, I'm going to show you guys the transfer, and then if I need to, I'll go ahead and hit this with the heat gun. But, so you guys, this transfer, these are the new transfers from Dixie Belle, and this one is by, it's inspired by Leah Noel Design Company, and it's Flower Child Transfer. So when you see the outside of the tube, it looks like it's going to be kind of, I know, right, Karen? Yes, Siri is annoying. Especially when I'm not talking to her. And when I try to talk to her, half the time she doesn't hear me. But anyway, so this is the Flower Child Transfer. And, you know, the colors look kind of dull. So I hadn't even opened this. When I did, I was so pleasantly surprised. I want to put this on everything now. Look how bright that is. So this was the first one that I saw. And I'm definitely going to use this. I have to look at the other sheets, though. I haven't even done that. This was so last minute. So this is, she has one big design. This actually links in with some of the other pages. But so for the transfers, you can use them on glass. I just did a window you can see on my page. Mirrors, you can put them on anything. You do want to put them on top of your paint or on top of a water-based stain, though. You don't generally want to protect it first. You can put it on after a protectant, but it doesn't always stick as easily. So this is just the rest of the transfer. Ooh, I love this one too. So you guys, this is the first time I'm opening this, so I'm seeing it at the same time. Hey, Pam. All right, so this is another sheet. So this one, so these sheets are numbered, so you can fit like these designs together. So this is like number 2. And then let's see what else we have. We have some feathers on here. Man, there's some beautiful turquoises in here as well, which I love. So, ooh. Yeah, so it looks like she has one big design and then several other smaller designs. And you can layer those together to make big designs. Oh, so here we go. We've got another sheet with this one on here. So one transfer will usually do several pieces of furniture as well. So that's really nice. All right, so I think, and by the way, these also come with little tips and tricks here. So, you know how you apply the transfer. And then they also come with a little wooden stick that I have lost. May not have been in here because I tend to not put them back after I open. I have a million of them. So here we go. I think I probably just put it in the wrong one. This is the Boho Soul Transfer. It's another one I was looking at. This was one of the first releases from Dixie Belle. So it comes with a little stick. This is what we're going to use to apply it with. I just want to make sure I'm not. By the way, if I miss any questions or anything like that, just let me know. Or I mean, not let me know. If I miss anything after the live, I will go back and look at those. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut out the section that I think I want to use. So unless I have to, I try not to cut too close to the design. I got a little piece of tape on my scissors. Get that off. You know, I also painted a little tray today, and I thought that's what I was going to use this on. But I was standing over this when I opened it, and I was just like, oh, this is what I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this a little bit so that you guys can have just a perfect view, drop down of what we're doing here. And this is dried up really nicely. I don't even think we're going to need to use the heat gun. I mean, and literally that probably took like 10 minutes. With these transfers, you want to make sure that you don't have any moisture underneath them. They don't like moisture. They will tend to bubble up, or they will start to peel off. So you want to make sure that you have a good working surface on here. I want to kind of look through some of these as well because I don't know. So I guess this is going to be the front. I'm going to turn this so I can kind of see what I want to do. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this butterfly out because I want the butterfly, but I don't necessarily want it in this spot. So let's go ahead. I want to make sure you can see this whole thing here. And I'm trying to watch comments as well. So I love kind of the whole native feel to it too with the antlers. I don't think I want it in the middle. I think I kind of want it a little bit down here maybe. And usually I have a better idea of how I'm going to design it. But let's see, we've got the butterfly, which I definitely, look how well that butterfly goes with the Serenity down here. So let's see, I kind of like some of these feathers, which I think would be really pretty on here. I don't want to take too much time doing this because I can design it later. Wonder. So what I could do, go here maybe with that. So actually I'm going to put these on and then I'll reassess it and see if I want to bring some flowers in or layer something else in. But I really just like this right here. So we're going to, and by the way, even though silk has a built-in protectant in it, these transfers go on silk beautifully as well. You do want to protect over the transfers though, and you can do that. You just don't want to do it with an oil-based product or with gator hide. They do cause issues with the transfer, but like our Besting wax, if you're a wax fan, our Besting wax is water-based, so you can use that. So I think, I'm thinking I want to go, you know, I really like this design. You know what? I've got to see something. So if I do this, kind of coming in over here, and then maybe, so when I design something like this, just to give you guys a little bit of insight, when I design something like this, I'm trying to always keep your eye moving on the piece of work. So I don't want to, oh, hey, Ellen, I haven't seen you in a while. So I don't want to like have the butterfly flying off the off of the page, off the stool over here. I want to keep it so it's pointing towards the center because that automatically brings your eye onto the piece, doesn't lead you off. And I'm thinking the reason I'm setting this down like this is I really think I might like to layer some of these smaller ones in down here at the bottom. And I know that I'm going to do that, but I don't think I'm going to end up, or I could do a stencil. I could do this down here like, no, I'm going to keep it, yeah. I'm going to put this towards the middle here, or at least kind of just lay it out and see how it looks. So you can measure. I don't frequently do that. I usually will try to eyeball it. So this transfer is sticky. So notice it's bubbled up. I do not have this transfer pressed down on my surface because if I would rub this down, there's a chance that it would stick. The Dixie Belle transfers are really good about peeling back up, but I don't want to damage my transfer and trying to, you know, decide where I want to place it. So I think I'm going to leave it right here, but my measurement is not the best. I kind of use my fingers, so I know I'm 2 fingers in on both sides. As far as from the top to the bottom, I'm about even too, because I'm about 4 fingers in. Measuring tape is more accurate, but it's not like, you know, this has to be exactly. So now I've got it pressed down in the middle here, and I'm just going to kind of lay it out. Actually, let me make sure. I want to make sure my horns are about level so they're not like really off, and they are. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go out from the center right here. I don't have this side stuck down. You want to make sure you try to get all the little bubbles out of it. So I've got it nice and pressed down. Now I'm going to go ahead and rub it on just to make sure I have it stuck pretty nicely. Man, I am loving these. So Redesign with Prima carries a lot of transfers as well. Dixie Belle is pretty new with carrying their own transfers. And I have to tell you guys, I love these Dixie Belle transfers. I didn't show you this, but here, let me show you on this side. So one nice thing, well, it's not going to do it because I've rubbed it down too much. But one nice thing is these don't adhere quite as quickly. So you can kind of peel back sometimes and rearrange your design, which is a really, really nice feature. They also release really well. I really like the fact that these new ones especially seem to be even more opaque and not as transparent as the others. So the easiest way to do this is to kind of rub and pull up at the same time. And when I'm rubbing and pulling back, let me see if I can get you guys a little bit closer so that you can see how this looks. I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. There we go. So if you can see like over here, yeah, you can tell on camera, where it's much lighter, that has released, it's stuck to my surface. So if you are pulling back though, oh, see, look. So this is pulled off my surface, the corner of this horn. All I need to do is lay it back down and just rub a little bit better on that spot and keep going and pulling back here. So typically speaking, if you have a larger design like this, it is a little bit faster for it to release, for me, in my experience, than like if you have lettering or something like that that you're doing, it has more contact points, outer edge contact points. So sometimes those do take a little bit longer on releasing. But all we're doing is just rubbing this down. And we're slowly pulling back as we are rubbing it. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but my stick here is actually rubbing in the spot where I'm pulling back. So it's just like right in front of that. And I'm actually pulling the section. I'm rubbing over where I'm pulling up, essentially. And that just makes it go the fastest. If you have a transfer too, just another little tip, if you have a transfer that you're having trouble releasing, you can use the heat gun and heat it up a little bit. That heat will help release the glue. You don't want to heat it up too much. If you're using a heat gun, you can use a hair dryer if you're not comfortable with the heat gun. The heat gun's really, really hot. And if you leave it in one spot instead of moving it constantly, you can actually bubble up the transfer. So you just move it back and forth over the transfer to release the glue a little bit, and that will help you have an easier time rubbing it down. And there are two Dixie Belle transfers that are from a different manufacturer, the Cherry Blossom, and I think it's Vintage Flowers, maybe? Vintage something. Came out with the Cherry Blossom one. That one, I don't know if I have it over here. No, I wasn't looking at that one. That one, same thing. You can release it with the heat gun if you're having problems with it. So we're more than halfway done here. Man, I love the colors in this transfer. I would have never, ever, honestly, I mean, I like this transfer, but I wouldn't have thought that I wanted to use it before I opened it. Like, it wasn't the top of my list. And I love flowers. I'm a flower girl, definitely. But now that I've opened it, I want to use it on everything. So we're almost off here. So now that I've come this far, I do not want my transfer to release from this plastic on an edge. I like to come over, once I get to kind of close to the edges, I like to come over and meet in a place on the transfer in the middle. And the reason that I like to do that is it's easy if you're coming off to the edge and you don't have that very edge stuck down well, it will, it'll actually rip the transfer, or it could rip the transfer. I've done it before, and I've known other people who have done it as well. So that's why I always come back towards the middle, because it's less, actually I've never had it happen coming back towards the center. So right now I really want to pull up here, and I'm having trouble getting a hold of the plastic. So a couple different things you can do. I could take like this and I could just slide it under so I could get a good grip on that. Or you can also take just like a piece of painter's tape. And this is a helpful tip. Take a piece of painter's tape and lift it. So those are a couple different options. I want to rub this down a little bit before I do that again, because some of that came up whenever I pulled it. There we go. So I've got it up now. So this one is also, see how I had to cut very close to the edge? Oh, did you see her? Was she wandering through again? You guys, please tell me if she steals a stick or these little plastic tops. She loves that. Oh, there she goes. She looks like I bribed them with a treat before before I went live. Here she comes. Hey, cutie pie. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead. I'm glad that I did not come off the side too, because for whatever reason, this other side is not releasing. It's releasing easy enough, but not as quickly and easily as the other side there. I'm having to rub just a little bit harder. Actually, sorry, I got totally distracted. What I was telling you guys, well, hopefully I'll remember it in just a minute here. It was some kind of tip I wanted to let you know about. Just making sure that these edges are pressed down really, really well. Oh, I remember. So if you need one to release and it's super close to the edge, you can take like, so like if I had a piece of this clear plastic, I can just put this over that edge and I can rub it so that way I'm not scratching my wood or anything like that, or my paint if you're putting it on paint. So That's just a really nice little tip, especially when it's going on paint. I think I'm going backwards is the reason I'm having such a hard time here. So it's getting ready to completely pull off and release. So I want to go really slow around this part because that last pop off, I want to make sure that all of my transfers adhered. So right now I just have all inside sections. That's not true. I've got one little outside section over here. So I think my husband probably just came home and they get a little noisy. Okay. Okay, you're okay. You're okay. Shh, 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 shh. Shh, shh. You guys are all right. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to pick her up right quick here. So, we are just getting ready to release it. So actually nobody came in. They must have probably just heard something at the front door. Okay, you're all right. Relax. Relax. You're okay. She's new. I've only had her for a little bit. Here, I'll raise it up. So her name was Scarlet, but we kind of call her Taz for the Tasmanian Devil because she's kind of super hype. But anyway, this is Scarlet. She's our new addition. So we've got this release, though. Sorry, I got a little off track. Shh, you're okay. You're okay. So this is it here. So the next thing, shh, Scarlet, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So the next thing that you want to do is just make sure it does not have any air bubbles in it. Sometimes you can get like a little air bubble, and I don't think I do. You don't want any air bubbles. I don't have any on here, but if you would happen to get an air bubble, you can take just a tiny safety pin and you just put it in there and then push it down. That will make it stick and it'll release the air out through that tiny little hole. You can use, like some people use an X-Acto knife. Some people distress these as well, and I may end up doing that. But you want to use a fine grit sandpaper, though, if you do that, because you'll take a lot of the ink off otherwise. Or you could even rip the transfer if the grit is too low. So you do want to burnish it. It looks like everything is adhered really well. And like I said, I told you guys I threw this together last minute. Normally I use a finishing pad to burnish these, but I did not get one out. So there are other ways that you can do it. You can burnish with your hands, but I don't feel like that's the best way for me. You can also take the plastic part, which I'm looking for. Oh, that I just pulled off. And you can put the slick side down, and you can rub over it and burnish this way. My other method, and I do have some out here, are the rad pads. So these are the Surf Pep rad pads, and I do carry these at the store as well. It's really nice sandpaper. It's got the spongy side on one, and then you've got your grit over here that you can sand with. And it comes like with a fine, extra fine. I think it's like 120 to, yeah, it is. It's a 120 all the way up to a 600 grits, and there's 2 of each pad. So I actually use the spongy side if I forget my finishing pad. Oh, thank you. If I forget my finishing pad, I just use the spongy side and kind of go over it, make sure it all lays down really well. Sometimes on the edges you can get, I don't know if you can see that, I've got one right there. You can get like where the halo or the outside of it has a little piece that sticks up. You want to get those off. And the reason, that's why burnishing, another reason it's important, because when you protect over this, You want to make sure that none of that moisture gets down in underneath the transfer, because that'll cause you an issue later on as well. So my number one choice for burnishing is the finishing pad. This is my second choice though. You can also use like a sanding sponge that Dixie Belle carries as well. I've got one more little section where that halo part is up a little bit. Just want to make sure that's good. It has, but the sanding sponge has that spongy side too, so you can use that to burnish as well. So now once I protect over with this, that'll be my next step. I'll protect over it with Satin. And then I think I'm going to do a wax and some dirt on here to really age this out. But I want to go ahead and put my butterfly on, but we're kind of running out of time. So I'll take I'm going to have this done pretty quickly. I'll take some final pictures of this and probably post them tomorrow or Sunday, one or the other. I'll be live on the Chalk 101 Paint Company page, working with the Retro Peacock transfer on our vanity Monday night as well. So I think I'm going to go ahead. I actually think I like the butterfly about right here, because I'm going to come in down here with some more designs there. So let's go ahead and put this on. Well, actually, I should have demonstrated. I think it's going to work. See, you saw me press that down. This is what I like about Dixie Belle transfers. And I love Redesign with Prima, and I love their designs. But I haven't used any of them that you can reposition quite so easily. So that's a feature I do really like about these Dixie Belle transfers. You know, and these are kind of some things that you won't really hear me say. I think I positioned that differently. I want it turned more. Yeah. You won't necessarily hear me say stuff like that either. On some of the other pages that I do lives on, because understandably so, they're a company and I can't compare and contrast products necessarily on those lives. So that's something I like about going live on my page, because I feel like I can say or talk about any of the products that I want to. But I do love the Dixie Belle transfers. And I really love how vibrant the colors are in these new ones. And I love the designs. Like I said, I'm a flower person. And I'm so glad that we have so many more flower designs. Super excited to see their new releases. We have new silk colors coming out too. I can't remember the date that I'll be able to start selling them, but hopefully I can talk about them already. But we do have them coming out at the end of this month. So I'm super excited about that, because I love the silk paint. Love it, love it, love it for a one color finish especially, or even a two color slight blend. So let me go ahead. You saw how quickly that butterfly went on. Let me just go ahead and burnish that down. Ma'am, no sticks. No. Sorry, I'm talking to the puppy there. All right, so we've got this transfer on. We're pretty well out of time, but I'm super excited. I love it. And this is kind of where we're at. I'm going to come in from the corners with some other things here, I think, as well. But super excited. Well, I will go back again and answer any questions. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. And like I said, I will be live every Monday night at 6 on the Chalk 101 page. And then on my page, Fridays at 5. So thanks again. You guys take care. Have a great night. Oh, thank you so much.